You know, what if I told you that a dusty old barn could be hiding more treasure than a bank vault? Well, that's pretty much the world of picking, and today we're going to pull back the curtain. We'll break down some of the most amazing finds from the show American Pickers to really get into the art of turning what looks like forgotten junk into absolute gold.
This quote from Mike Wolfe really just nails it, doesn't it? This whole thing isn't just about, buying and selling old stuff. It's about being a kind of modern-day archaeologist. You're swapping a pickaxe for a flashlight and literally digging through layers of time to find stories that the world's forgotten.
Okay, so here's the roadmap for today. First, we'll get into the art of the hunt itself. Then, we'll see what it's like to follow a lead to a hidden treasure. After that, we get the high-stakes art of the deal. We'll see how these things are brought back from the brink. And finally, we'll look at the ultimate payoff for a picker.
All right, first up, let's get on the same page about what picking actually is. Because believe me, it has its own culture, its own set of unwritten rules, and yeah, even its own language.
So, at its core, picking is a treasure hunt, but with a major twist. Instead of just waiting for cool stuff to pop up in some fancy antique shop, pickers go right to the source. We're talking barns, garages, attics, places where things have been sitting untouched for generations. It's all about finding history right where it happened.
And yeah, if you're going to be a picker, you have to talk the talk. Smalls, those are your bread and butter items. They pay for the gas, the food on the road. Fresh picked is like the holy grail. It means you found something no other dealer has seen yet. And sweaty? That's a good thing. It means an item has all its original, authentic grime and history still caked on it.
But you can't just wander into any old barn, right? Every truly great pick starts with a lead. It might just be a phone call, a tip from a buddy, or sometimes just a rumor that ends up pointing the way to something absolutely incredible.
Take the lead they got to a guy named Michael. The pickers thought he just had a couple of storage units. What they actually found was a 300-acre farm that had been in his family for, get this, 10 generations. That stuff piled up all the way back to 1750. I mean, can you imagine? 10 generations of history just waiting for you.
And sometimes, the best leads are the ones that go totally wrong. The guy's got a tip about finding Bonnie and Clyde's motorcycle. Turns out, it was the wrong Bonnie and Clyde, just this sweet older couple with the same names. But you know what? That hilarious mistake still led them to a garage where a 1934 Harley Davidson was literally buried. It just goes to show, even a dead end can lead to treasure.
So finding the spot is one thing, but the real electricity, the real thrill, is that moment of discovery. This is where a picker's sharp eye, their gut feeling, and sometimes just pure muscle all have to come together.
Because it's almost never as easy as just walking in and spotting a masterpiece on a shelf. That 1934 Harley, for instance, wasn't just dusty. It was literally buried. It hadn't seen the light of day in decades. So what does it actually take to bring something like that out of the dark?
Well, the process is a serious physical grind. After they followed that lead, they had to literally dig the bike out. I'm talking about moving 30 years worth of someone's life. Old sewing machines, boxes, who knows what, just to clear a little path. It's this slow, careful excavation to pull that one piece of history back into the sunlight.
So, you've found the treasure, you've dug it out, but guess what? You don't own it yet. Now comes what is often the most dramatic part of any pick, the negotiation. Okay, let's break down the haggle for this '69 Sportster. You gotta watch the strategy here. The seller, Michael, he starts high, $2,500, framing it as a classic Harley. But Frank, he counters low at $1,400. But, and this is key, he gives a reason. It's customized, not stock, and it needs work. By drowning their arguments in facts, they create room for that classic compromise, and they meet right in the middle at $1,700.
Now, let's go back to that buried 1934 Harley. After all the hard work of digging it out, the owners, the other Bonnie and Clyde, dropped their opening number. They've done some searching online, and their asking price is a cool $15,000.
Frank doesn't even flinch. He immediately starts building his case for a counteroffer. He points out the bike's rough shape, the fact that it isn't running, and the biggest headache of all, no title. With all that justification, he makes his first offer, $10,000.
And from there, the negotiation gets pretty tense. They go back and forth, $13,000 down to $11,000, but Bonnie, she holds firm. She just wants a little bit more. Finally, they shake on it, $11,200. A super high-stakes deal for a piece of history that doesn't even run. And this just proves that a negotiation isn't always about the money. On another pick, Mike was stuck. The seller, Jim, he wanted $150 for a Harley frame, but Mike's absolute top price was $100.
So Jim throws out a challenge. Correctly identify this rare mystery motorcycle part, and the frame is yours for your price. Mike and Frank put their heads together, and they nailed it. It was a reverse gear for a knucklehead tri-car. They won the wager, and they got the deal.
So once the deal is done, you might think the story's over. But really, it's just beginning. This is where the real passion comes in. It's not just about flipping an item for a quick buck. It's about resurrecting a piece of history.
I mean, this timeline for Mike's 1911 Harley project, it says everything. This was not a quick flip. This was a 4.5-year mission. He spent 4 of those years just hunting for the final piece of the puzzle, this one rare, authentic motor. All that time, all that dedication, just for that moment he could finally get it on the road.
And like Mike says here, it's hardly ever a solo mission. He gives all the credit to a whole community of experts and buddies who helped straighten the frame, work on the fenders, bring the whole thing back to life. It's this amazing collaborative effort to basically resurrect these things from the dead.
Which brings us to the big question. What is the payoff for all of this digging, all this haggling, and all this rebuilding? Well, it turns out the reward is twofold. There's one for the wallet and one for the soul.
Okay, first, let's talk business. If we look at the numbers for that '69 Sportster, they paid $1,700 for it. With just a little bit of cleanup, its estimated value jumps up to $2,800. That's a potential profit of over $1,000. It proves that having a good eye for a pick is also just a really smart business move.
But honestly, beyond the money, there's a much deeper reward. The seller, Michael, he put it perfectly. He said he was just happy to see all this stuff that was just sitting in his barns go to someone who would actually cherish it. And that, right there, that's the true payoff. Rescuing an object, saving its story, and making sure it has a future.
And all of this leaves us with one final thought. Every old thing has a story, a piece of history attached to it. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, what forgotten treasures and untold histories might be sitting in your own attic or garage, just waiting to be rediscovered.